Well, welcome back, and thank you for tuning in tonight. And I know Ray had a few other questions, so the line is free, Ray. So if you want to call back in with your other questions, but getting back to this viral thing, I mean, it's very important for people to realize that our body has the ability to kill all these viruses, or the viruses kill us. There are some, people that can't mount the immune system or the immune response. So that's what happens with these influenza viruses. But they're usually very sick in general. Okay, it's the side effects.
Yeah, they have a compromised immune system.
Yeah, and they have a compromised body in general. So that's what really does that. So Ray's back on the line. Ray?
Yes, I am. Ray the Flagman is back with you guys.
Yep.
Hey, just after I got done chewing you out as far as prolonging these phone calls, you tell me to hang on through the commercial so you can talk to me again. No, you got to.
But I know you had more questions, but I appreciate you hanging up because Roxanne called in with a very good question, so that was very nice.
You got to keep the line open. I mean, my TV show, that was the main problem. We let people talk, and it took up a lot of time. My question is, two friends of mine have told me they've got a problem, and I don't understand it. They said, and they're male friends, they said that their bladders are dropping or something like that. And one of them had to get a mesh put in, I believe. I never heard of nothing like this. If you could explain that. Is this...
Is it female or is it...
Pardon me?
Female?
No, guys.
Guys having bladders that are dropping?
Right. That's what they tell me, that the doctor's saying their bladders are dropping. So what is that all about? I'm pretty sure it happens in women, but does it happen in men too, or is that an aberration?
I'll be honest with you, Ray.
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of a male dropping his bladder because it sits in front of the colon. They're really, the females.
There's nowhere for it to drop.
Yeah, well, unless they're. I don't know. That doesn't mean it can't be, but usually with the prostate sitting there and the rectal vault and the pelvic area, it keeps it pretty much in check. Meaning for females, absolutely. Because of the uterus and because of the way that all mounts and the way the bladder is a little bit higher, it can tip and it can rock back and forth. And their pelvic ligaments stretch when they have babies, and so that causes this laxity and things get out of alignment.
So with guys, it does not happen with men. Is that what you're saying?
Ray, I don't know that question. I mean,
I'll put you on the spot again, huh, Doc?
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, I like the conversation. We deal with a lot of prostate issues, and usually in the prostate issues, you've got the bladder has an increased alpha tone, and it has an increased constriction with the prostate. So that's what we deal mainly with in males, and getting, I got a fly that's going around. But anyway, that's the main problem with males, is that urinating issue. So
one of my friends was first diagnosed with a hernia, and he went in for hernia surgery because he had the bulge in the lower abdomen. And then it turns out it wasn't a hernia, it was something to do with the bladder. And it was just, the hernia operation was just a waste. It wasn't necessary, but that was the diagnosis. And then... Well,
if he stretches his lower whole abdomen, and there is some weakness in the lower abdominal wall, then yes, it is possible that the bladder might push forward and there might be an issue there. But that would be a real rarity in case. That's why I haven't seen a lot of it. And
let me ask, hey, Ray, is this a big man?
Tall, not overweight. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That would be my theory, because I've seen a lot of men as well as women with that pedunculated abdomen. They've got that large. It's not just a roll over the belt. I mean, it's actually another country. That
another area.
Yeah, another territory that hangs down. And I feel sorry for those people that have that, but their abdominal wall has weakened so much that it actually just pulls everything down. It's obviously a very unhealthy situation, but that might, but you're talking about external abdomen, you're talking about adipose tissue, skin, you're not really talking about pulling the abdominal contents out of there. And hernias really are femoral or inguinal in both males and females, less likely because the males actually have, the testes that basically, create an opening for a hernia. But other than that, you do have ventral hernias where the abdominal wall weakens around the umbilicus, and that can protrude out there. So that would be a mesh situation, and you could make a case for someone having a large ventral hernia, straining to go to the bathroom or having a bowel movement and actually pushing that bladder forward, which might cause some urination issues, and that might be a mesh that they might put in there.
Yeah, but it's going to push the colon through before.
Colon's behind the bladder.
Yeah.
So if you're pushing to have a bowel movement, you might push the bladder forward because that valsalva, that might do something, and so they might put a mesh in there. But my issue with meshes is that they're a nice idea, but you still have to have something to attach it to, and it has to shrink, and most people don't heed the warning, and they don't lose their weight gradually, and they don't allow everything to shrink gradually. So therefore, that's why there's a lot of failure with mesh and mesh-related products.
Well, I have a friend who supposedly he had a mesh put in, and it is like wandering. And they got to go in to remove it, and he's reluctant to do it. But that's something to say about mesh. I don't know much about it, but that's what he tells me. The doctor said it's like moving around. It's not where it should be.
Well,
Ray, I'm going to open this line up because I'm not going to be guilty of tying it up forever, and I'm sure you're going to get other calls, and maybe the last segment I'll give you another call.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes before the break, but when it comes to hernias, hernias are basically, actually out-pocketing. If you want to think of a diverticuli as a hernia, it's basically the same process. But in hernias, you can get the small bowel. This is the danger behind hernias. You can get what's called incarceration, right? And then if a bowel can become incarcerated, it can become strangulated. So that would lead to bowel death. Incarceration is basically the bowel becomes trapped into the hernia orifice, and that can be a very serious situation. And if it gets twisted on itself, it cuts off its blood supply, that bowel becomes necrotic, and it becomes strangulated and dies, and that could cause acute sepsis, and you could literally die from that. Lots of ways to die. So anyway, so, kind of back to this viral issue with viral load. If the people that I hear about that die from West Nile, that die from those infections, their immune system cannot take over the virus, okay? Cannot mount enough antibodies and enough white blood cells to kill off that virus. And then, so you get a lot of edema, swelling, you get fluid shifts, you get other things that that's how people die from those viral infections. HIV is a little different story. You do actually kill the retrovirus off, but then eventually that virus kills your immune system, and over time, and so all of a sudden, in a very insidious process, you show up with an opportunistic infection, one that you shouldn't get. And it's called an opportunistic because you have an opportunity to have the infection, and that's what causes all that. So we have Marvin on the phone. Marvin?
Hey, Marvin.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Still alive, huh?
Yep.
Me too. Christensen, doctor, right? Have you done going into senior dimension yet?
No, we have not. We've not been able to breach that. Apparently, they have one single contract with a provider in Las Vegas, and that's the outreach here. So it doesn't look like we're going to be able to branch into that market.
Okay, well, that's what I have. And VA, I talked to you several weeks ago about my back.
Yep. So listen, we're going to go to break in a minute. So do you have something you want to...
No, I have nothing else to ask. That's it.
Okay.
You guys have a nice evening.
Okay, thanks you, Marvin. So, yeah, that's unfortunate, but we'll sure go to work on trying to... but, you work with people that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're still going to be working to try and get physical therapy because we can get that. So we're going to be working to try and get physical therapy, which in a lot of times is, can be very valuable too with people with chronic sciatica.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the things, manipulations are what you do, in addition to overseeing the physical therapy. But somebody's got to be doing that, and sometimes you have to put the spine in alignment. And sometimes physical therapy allows the muscles to relax enough to where you can put their spine back.
Well, we use it in combination in the office. We do a lot of passive physical therapy.
Yeah. Okay, we'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thank you.